Hello, I am Granny Rocks. I'm also known as Beth Green, and we are here tonight with Granny Rocks Our World, which we call Grow. And tonight I'm going to be asking the question how to feel good about yourself when you feel like a jerk. Now, why would I ask a question like that? Well, I'll tell you something. I was reading the news and I just kept looking at all these people and I said, oh my God, they must feel like jerks. Then, of course, so do we. So I think it's going to be really helpful to talk about what to do when we feel like jerks. And also, especially because last week I was talking about how we feel the shame of existence and how we feel crappy about ourselves. And then we have to prove ourselves and we get competitive. So I think this topic is really important. So before I get into it, I would like to bring on sweet baby Jean to introduce the show. Everybody. And also let's say hello to the people who have said hello. Hello, Erica. Hi there, Elizabeth. Oh, hello from New Mexico. It's Simone. And hello, Tracy.
From Arizona.
From Arizona. Okay. Anyone else want to announce themselves, please do, and take it away.
Take it away. Well, welcome to Granny Rocks Our World, which airs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time, 6:30 Pacific Time, p.m.
Indeed.
And this is our opportunity to get Granny's reflections on what's going on in our own personal human behavior as well as in society. And we welcome hearing her wit, her wisdom, and her uncommon sense. And so now, here's Granny.
Well, when you were making the introductions, James, we got a hello from Helen. And, oh, that's quick. And so, hello, Amy. She said hello to both of us, as did Helen. And hi, Rose. Okay. So just to reiterate, tonight I'm going to be talking about how to feel good about yourself when you feel like a jerk, because it is so easy. You know, I was reading, the news. I don't know how our president does not feel like a jerk, because one minute he's screaming, build the wall, and now he's saying, well, the human wall, and then he's saying we've wiped out ISIS, and then he said, well, we're going to wipe out ISIS, and whatever is convenient. And I think, doesn't he ever cringe? But it's not just him. I mean, we have these two Democrats in Virginia who were caught in blackface. Now, there's a history of racism in the country, and it's not over yet. I mean, it's just like every day you see some other story about Black people who are being mistreated, prejudice against them, and so on. So, I mean, they must feel like jerks, don't they? I mean, one guy may have to resign from the governorship, and I mean, people get caught all the time in jerky behavior. So what are you going to do about it? So let's see, what do people typically do? So I want to reiterate again also what I said in the beginning, because, I know people start coming on, but they're not all on until we get to this point. So it's really important that we feel good about ourselves, because when we feel good about ourselves, we have love for us, and that tends to make us more loving towards other people. And when we feel lousy about ourselves, we tend to get more competitive, and that makes us more polarized. And I talked about that on Monday, and I really hope you watched that show when I was talking about the state of what union, and it's about how we turn against ourselves. And hello, Todd. And how we turn against ourselves and how that shows up politically. I mean, it's really dangerous. Turning against ourselves is not just a personal thing, it becomes a political thing. So let's see how people often deal with looking like jerks or feeling like jerks. Mm-hmm. It wasn't me.
Denial.
We could call that the Kavanaugh defense, right?
Right.
It wasn't me. Now, this is astounding. The governor of Virginia, he is the governor, right?
Yes, that's right.
He starts out by saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry that I was in blackface with a guy wearing a Ku Klux Klan outfit in my yearbook, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry. Then he says, it wasn't me. Now, how could you not know if it was you? The only way you could not know would be if you were a heavy-duty drinker, like the Brett Kavanaugh defense. Like, I was so drunk, I don't know if it was me or if it wasn't me. But if it was me, I mean, you'd have to get honest and say, if it was me, I'm really sorry. Hello, Richard. Glad to see you. I'm really sorry. Or, say, it really wasn't me, or I hope it wasn't me because this is so despicable or something, but you have to have some kind of degree of honesty. But people go back and forth. Hello, Luann. Glad to see you too. So it is so obvious. And then, there are companies who are the causes of fires, for example. Oh, did you see there's another fire, a gas explosion in San Francisco? I haven't read about it yet. I don't know who they're going to blame for that and who's going to look like a jerk there. But there's always somebody, don't worry. Somebody, because we're in such a blamey society, we're going to blame somebody. Okay, so there's that. And then there is, we lie about climate change. Oh no, there's no climate change, or if there is climate change, it has nothing to do with us. It's just a coincidence, right? That every year it gets hotter. So you feel like a jerk. So you just say, it's not real. It didn't happen. So the first guy say, it wasn't me. The second one says, I was too drunk to know whether it was me. And the third one is, it's not even real. That isn't a black face in that picture, right? That's just sunshade. You know what I mean? There's shade on the face. So, I think it would be really cool to look at what to do when we have been jerky. And, the first thing is to be scrupulously honest. And that seems to be severely lacking in our culture today. And, probably always. Well, is it surprising? Okay. Dad catches you masturbating, or mom catches you having sex with the girl next door. And you said, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. And there you go. It didn't happen. She's lying. She's lying. Yeah. Oh, I forgot one of the other rationalizations. Why don't we talk about the Access Hollywood tapes of, Donald Trump? Well, that's just locker room talk. I mean, everybody walks around with black faces on, mocking, with somebody with a Ku Klux Klan outfit next to them. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. That's totally harmless. Right? So these are all defenses. I am not talking about defenses. I'm talking about how do we actually own it, heal from it, and feel good about ourselves in the process. Well, there's only one way, is to be scrupulously honest with ourselves and everybody else and try to understand our behavior. We have an expression, I wrote a book called Living with Reality, what we are, or who we are, what we could be, how we get there. It's free on the innerrevolution.org. The innerrevolution.org is one word. It's on our website and it's a free download. And if you hear scratching, that's the dog who's decided that he's going to go for a bone that's in the carpet that nobody knows exists. He's actually being a jerk, but he'll never admit it. So anyway, I have an exercise in there called No Wonder. And so when we start to understand ourselves, so why would you have done that? Why would you have raped that woman? Why would you have put on blackface? Why would you have groped somebody? Why would you have bragged about your sexual prowess? Why would you have completely ignored the reality of global warming for the last 20 years? Why would you be venal and corrupt? And now you're getting caught in being venal and corrupt. Why would you do that? Well, I need to prove something to my father who's been dead 20 years, or I need to prove something to the stockholders because they're holding my job, or whatever it is. And then when we begin to understand ourselves, then we can say, well, no wonder I did this. It doesn't mean that it's okay. It means that it's understandable. When we can understand ourselves, guys, we can begin the process of forgiveness. We also need to make amends to the people that we have damaged. And without making amends, you'll never feel good about yourself. But no, I can't make amends because that doesn't mean that I did it. And if somebody thinks that I did it, then they're going to think I'm a jerk, or I'm going to lose my job, or I'm going to be fired as a CEO, or whatever it is. Yeah, well, possibly. That may in fact happen. We have to face these things. In that same book, Living with Reality, I have a whole section on accountability and making amends. Believe me, when you make amends, and you can only make amends if you have some compassion for yourself. If you make amends, you're going to be able to forgive yourself. And then you're going to start to feel good about yourself. You cannot feel good about shitty things that you have done because they're not good. They're shitty.
And you'll
But
feel that way about them.
You will. But you can feel good about yourself if you take accountability for what you've done. Now today, instead of doing a life force, I would like to ask, hi, Mary Chris, is there anyone out there who would like to share with us? Write a comment on some way that you may feel like a jerk just today, where you would like to have our support in feeling good about yourself without going to denial, without pretending. Anybody have the guts to put in something in the comments? It could be the James.
Could be.
It could be, I didn't feel good about myself today because I was feeling kind of klutzy about doing something that I thought that I could do easily. Oh my God. But anyone else? I'm not seeing a comment here. All right, well.
Well, I've had lots of experiences of being a jerk, in that I have gone into my silo and withdrawn from you when you needed me, when we'd like to have that connection of support. And oh, look, here's another one.
And Erica says, I have been critical. So James has brought up going into his silo, and Erica has brought up being critical. So James, why do you go into a silo? Can we have a no wonder for you about that? Why do you go into a silo and disconnect from me?
I know, it just feels like a safety thing. I feel safer, more secure if I withdraw into myself.
You know what occurs to me?
What's that?
It may have something to do with feeling like a jerk.
Ooh.
Because when we feel like jerks, I mean, I've talked about all the forms of denial, but we also are known to withdraw. Like, oh, somehow nobody's going to notice me. Nobody's going to see what I've done. Or I won't be subject to your criticism. I'm just going to go hide, blame you for criticizing me. I forgot that one. That's another way that we can cope with being jerked. None of these ways make us feel good. Do you see them? If we go into a silo, if we go into blame, if we pretend it didn't happen, if we make excuses, we will never feel good about ourselves. And so I think that one of the reasons that you go into a silo, James, is to not feel like a jerk because you felt so shame-based in your life. And so that was very quick. And then we have Erica. Mary Chris says, I have used anger as a weapon. Oh my God, yes. Erica said, I have been critical. Well, who has not? And, you know, what is the power? Here's the no wonder there. You know, feeling critical is going into a silo and feeling aloof and feeling better than. So because critical is like, I sit there in my little silo, you know, I'm listening to this music and the guy has made millions on this songs. And I say, oh, you know, that is so trite. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what's wrong with my music? Why isn't anyone listening to that? So no, I have to turn it around. And so I sit here in my little safe silo and pass judgments on other people so that nobody can pass judgments on me. So that is really a way of making myself feel powerful when I feel powerless. And Mary Chris, that was Erica, and Mary Chris, I've used anger as a weapon. Well, who has not? Again, Erica says it comes from being competitive. Well, yes, exactly. We become competitive as a way of compensating for us not feeling good about ourselves. That's what we talked about last time. And using anger as a weapon is a way of keeping people at bay so they can't remind us of the jerky behavior that we're exhibiting. Like, oh, let's distance ourselves from the person that I hurt. Let's just get angry, and I'll never have to feel bad about myself again. Well, as we're closing up our show for today, again, I didn't do a life force, but I will do something. For every behavior of mine
So
Can you
repeat
repeat that? For every
For
behavior
every
of mine
behavior of mine
that I detest,
that I detest,
there is a reason.
there is a reason.
And if I could see that reason,
And if I could see that reason,
I would have compassion.
I would have compassion.
Let this be the beginning of a new era of self-awareness and compassion for ourselves. How to feel good about ourselves when we feel like jerks is not to run away from the feeling, but to dive into it, get under it, and have compassion for the person who did it. And have faith that when you begin to do that and you make amends, that you will find not only forgiveness from others, but most important, the essence of self-love for yourself. Thank you so much for joining us for this Grow. Please come back and join us again on Friday. Please like and share this video. If you didn't get to watch the whole thing, it's going to be posted very shortly and you'll be able to watch it from the beginning. Peace and thank you so much for joining us.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
And